Echoes of the Horizon. Chapter 1. The Storm is Coming.
The Earth of 3050 was a world reshaped by ruin and reinvention. The air above the desolate wastelands was thick with ash, while beneath the electromagnetic domes of humanity's megacities, life thrived under an uneasy alliance between humans and machines. Neo-Terra, the largest of these domed cities, stood as a beacon of survival. Its skyline of glittering towers pierced the smog-choked sky, casting flickering lights onto the dense sprawl below. In the crowded streets of District 7, a bustling hub of trade and black market dealings, Aria Velos moved like a ghost through the chaos. Her black combat boots clinked softly against the metal-plated streets as she wove her way past vendors selling everything from illegal nanotech to salvaged Earth relics. Her sharp eyes, partially obscured by a sleek tactical visor, scanned her surroundings. She was always on edge, a side effect of too many years spent living on adrenaline and instinct. "Aria, you're late," came a voice from the holographic comm unit on her wristband. The flickering blue image of Kai Soren, her partner and fellow scavenger, materialized above the device. His scarred face was etched with irritation, though his tone carried the begrudging patience of someone used to her antics. "Relax, Kai," Aria said, a small smirk tugging at her lips. "The mission's not going anywhere." "The Council's breathing down our necks," Kai replied. "They're not known for their sense of humor. You've got, 5 minutes to get here?" "Make it 10, Aria teased, brushing a strand of black hair from her face as she reached her parked hoverbike. Its matte black frame hummed to life under her touch. "Tell the Council they can cool their heels. We'll get their precious artifact." Kai groaned, running a hand through his unruly hair. "Just don't get yourself killed. We've got enough problems without you pulling your usual stunts." The comm unit blinked off, and Aria revved the bike's engine. The sleek machine responded instantly, launching her into the labyrinth of the city's back streets. She weaved through the neon-lit chaos with practiced ease, dodging hovering delivery pods and gliding past patrolling drones. The electromagnetic dome overhead shimmered faintly, its protective field the only thing keeping the city safe from the volatile wasteland beyond. By the time she reached the rendezvous point at the city's edge, the faint hum of the dome's energy field was almost deafening. Kai was waiting beside their transport, his plasma rifle slung over one shoulder. Leaning against the vehicle was Dr. Vin Acasta, a wiry man whose nervous energy was palpable even in the dim light. Vin clutched a tablet displaying outdated schematics of their target, the abandoned Echelon facility. "Echelon's a death trap," Vin said without preamble, his voice tinged with a mix of fear and frustration. "We shouldn't even be going near it." Aria dismounted her bike, her boots crunching on the gravel. "You're the expert, Doc. That's why you're here." Vin shot her a glare but said nothing. Kai snorted, loading a fresh charge into his rifle. "The way I see it, the quicker we're in and out, the less likely we are to end up as part of Echelon's legacy." The facility itself was a relic of the Earth Defense Alliance, a shadowy pre-collapse organization. Buried deep in the wasteland, it was rumored to house artifacts capable of altering space-time itself. The Council believed the technology inside could be humanity's salvation, or its end, and they were paying Aria and her team a small fortune to retrieve it. The journey into the wasteland was as unforgiving as always. The transport rumbled across dunes of rust-colored sand, its reinforced tires kicking up clouds of dust. Electrical storms crackled on the horizon, their jagged arcs lighting up the skeletal remains of a long-forgotten city. Inside the vehicle, the atmosphere was tense. Vin tapped nervously at his tablet, muttering about outdated security protocols. Kai checked and rechecked his weapon, the movements automatic. Aria sat in silence, her gaze fixed on the horizon. When Echelon finally came into view, its towering spires seemed to rise from the sands like the bones of some long-dead beast. The faint hum of power emanating from within suggested the facility was far from dormant. "All right, Doc," Aria said as they disembarked. "You get us in. Kai, you're on overwatch. Anything moves, you drop it." Vin hesitated, his fingers trembling as he worked on bypassing the facility's main door. Sparks flew as the lock disengaged, and with a groan, the massive steel doors slid open. Beyond them lay a dark corridor, its walls lined with cryptic markings and half-functioning lights that flickered ominously. Arya stepped inside first, her visor scanning for movement. The air was stale and heavy, filled with the faint hum of ancient machinery. Kai followed closely, his plasma rifle at the ready. Vin trailed behind, his attention fixed on the schematics. The deeper they ventured, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The facility felt alive, its dormant systems stirring in response to their presence. The silence was broken by a low, mechanical growl. A sleek, four-legged drone emerged from the shadows, its red eyes locking onto the intruders. "Stalker drone," Arya muttered. "Figures." The drone lunged, its razor-sharp claws tearing into the floor. Arya dove for cover as Kai opened fire, the plasma bolts ricocheting off the drone's armored hide. Vin scrambled to deactivate the machine, his fingers flying across his tablet. "Anytime now, Doc," Arya shouted, her voice strained as she fired at the drone's exposed joint. Sparks flew, but the machine pressed forward. Finally, with a high-pitched whine, the drone froze mid-stride and collapsed. "Remind me to file a complaint with whoever built this place," Kai quipped, brushing dust off his jacket. They pressed on, eventually reaching the central chamber. In the middle of the room floated a sphere of pulsating energy, its golden surface swirling with patterns that defied explanation. Vin approached it cautiously, his tablet beeping with warnings. "This isn't just a weapon," he murmured. "It's a gateway." Arya's stomach tightened. A gateway to what? Before Vin could answer, the chamber shook violently. Alarms blared, and a mechanical voice echoed through the facility. "Unauthorized access detected. Containment protocol activated." The relic began to destabilize, its glow intensifying. Arya grabbed Vin and pulled him back. "We need to move, now." They fled as the facility began to collapse, fighting off more drones along the way. By the time they reached the transport, the ground behind them was a chaotic inferno of collapsing metal and sand. Inside the vehicle, Vin clutched a small containment unit holding a fragment of the relic's energy. "You have no idea what you've unleashed," he said, his voice shaking. Arya stared out at the wasteland, her jaw clenched. "Not yet, but I will." Their comms crackled to life, and Commander Sora Thenis' icy visage appeared on the screen. "Velos," she said, her tone unreadable. "Bring the artifact to me immediately." Arya narrowed her eyes. "What aren't you telling us, Sora?" Thenis' gaze hardened. "You've opened a door that should have remained closed. Now you'll deal with the consequences." Arya cut the connection, turning to Kai and Vin. "We're not handing this over. Not yet." Kai raised an eyebrow. "You sure about that? The Council doesn't take betrayal lightly." Arya smirked. "Let them come." And with that, the storm began to gather on the horizon.
Chapter 2. Shadows in the Sand.
The transport sped across the rust-streaked wastelands, its engine purring steadily. Inside, the atmosphere was taut with tension. Arya Velos sat in the driver's seat, her gloved hands gripping the controls as the dunes blurred past the viewport. Beside her, Kai Soren was silent, his plasma rifle resting on his lap, ready for anything. In the back, Dr. Vin Acasta hunched over the containment unit, his wide eyes reflecting the golden glow emanating from within. "That thing's alive," Vin murmured, his voice trembling as he stared at the swirling patterns inside the unit. "It's not just energy, it's something more." Arya glanced at him through the rearview mirror. "Care to elaborate, Doc?" Vin hesitated, his fingers drumming nervously on the tablet resting on his knees. "The relic, it's not a weapon. It's a bridge, a connection to something beyond this reality. I theorized as much, but seeing it, it's alive in ways we don't understand. We shouldn't have taken it." Kai let out a sharp laugh, breaking the tension. "Too late for second thoughts now. The Council wanted it bad enough to pay us, and they're not exactly the forgiving type." "Which is why we're not taking it to them," Arya said firmly. Her tone left no room for argument. "Not yet." Kai arched an eyebrow. "You realize what you're saying, right? Sora Thanis is going to hunt us down like dogs." "Let her," Arya replied. Her visor caught the faint light of the horizon as she adjusted their course. "The Council's been lying to us about what this thing is. If we hand it over now, we lose any chance of finding out the truth." "Truth," Kai muttered, shaking his head. "That's a dangerous word out here." Hours later, they reached the Outland Rings, a cluster of jagged rock formations that rose like giant spires from the wasteland floor. It was a natural fortress, perfect for regrouping. The transport slowed to a halt, its engine humming softly as the team disembarked. The air here was heavy with static, the result of the frequent storms that swept the region. "Set up a perimeter," Arya ordered as she stepped out, scanning the landscape. "Kai, keep watch. Vin, start analyzing the relic. We need answers." Kai nodded and climbed one of the nearby rock formations, his rifle slung over his back. From his vantage point, he had a clear view of the surrounding area. Vin, meanwhile, set up a makeshift workstation using his tablet and a portable scanner. Arya stood nearby, her gaze fixed on the relic. The golden patterns within seemed to pulse faintly, as though responding to an unseen rhythm. She didn't trust it, but she couldn't deny its allure. "You're staring," Kai called down from his perch. "That's never a good sign." "Shut up and focus," Arya shot back, though a faint smile played on her lips. As night fell, the wasteland transformed. The sky turned a deep shade of purple, and the stars seemed unnaturally bright against the darkness. The team gathered around a small portable generator that hummed quietly, its glow providing a sense of security in the otherwise desolate expanse. Vin finally broke the silence. "I've run every scan I can think of. The relic, it's not just a bridge, it's also a beacon." Kai frowned. "A beacon for what?" "That's what I'm afraid of," Vin replied. He adjusted the holographic display on his tablet, showing a series of fluctuating energy waves. "The patterns it's emitting, they're too consistent to be random. It's like it's calling to something." Arya leaned closer, her brow furrowed. "You mean it's broadcasting our location?" "Not just ours," Vin said. "It's broadcasting across multiple dimensions." Kai cursed under his breath. "Fantastic. So not only do we have the Council on our tail, but now we've got interdimensional whatever the hell's coming for us too." Before anyone could respond, a low rumble shook the ground. Arya's instincts kicked in immediately. "Weapons ready," she snapped, drawing her plasma pistol. Kai was already in position on the rocks, his rifle aimed at the horizon. In the distance, shadows moved against the starlit dunes. They were fast, their shapes indistinct but unmistakably humanoid. As they drew closer, Arya realized these weren't just ordinary pursuers. They were council enforcers, clad in sleek black armor and equipped with advanced weaponry. "Looks like Sora didn't waste any time," Kai muttered, steadying his aim. "Hold your fire," Arya said, her voice low. "Let's see what they want." The enforcers stopped just outside the ring of rocks. Their leader stepped forward, a tall figure whose helmet visor glowed a menacing red. He raised a hand, and a voice modulator amplified his words. "Arya Velos," he said. "By order of the Council, you are to surrender the artifact immediately. Resistance will not be tolerated." Arya's grip on her pistol tightened. "And if we refuse?" The leader tilted his head slightly. "Then we are authorized to terminate you and your associates." Kai snorted. "Real charming guy." Arya took a step forward, keeping her weapon trained on the enforcers. "If the Council wants the relic so badly, maybe they should have told us the whole truth about it." "The truth is irrelevant," the leader replied. "The artifact belongs to the Council. Hand it over now, and you may yet live." Arya's mind raced. She knew they couldn't win a straight fight against the enforcers, not with their superior numbers and firepower. But surrendering wasn't an option. Her eyes darted to Kai, who gave her a slight nod, his rifle still aimed. "Vin," she murmured, her voice barely audible. "Get ready to move." The next moments were a blur. Arya fired first, her plasma bolt striking the ground near the enforcers as a warning. Kai followed up with a precise shot that took down one of the soldiers. The rest responded immediately, their weapons lighting up the night with bursts of energy. "Go!" Arya shouted, covering Vin as he grabbed the containment unit and made a break for the transport. Kai provided sniper support, picking off enforcers with practiced precision. The fight was chaotic. The enforcers' weapons tore through the rocks, sending shards flying in every direction. Arya ducked behind cover, returning fire as she assessed their dwindling options. They were outnumbered and outgunned, and the relic's presence only made things worse. "Arya!" Kai called from his perch. "We've got to fall back." She nodded, firing a few more shots before retreating toward the transport. Vin was already inside, frantically securing the relic. Kai slid down from the rocks and joined them, his rifle smoking. As the transport roared to life, the enforcers closed in, their weapons glowing ominously. Arya floored the accelerator, the vehicle lurching forward as it sped away from the firefight. Energy blasts whizzed past them, narrowly missing the rear of the transport. Inside, the team was silent, their breaths heavy. The relic pulsed faintly in its containment unit, as though mocking them. Kai finally broke the silence. "So what's the plan now? Because running isn't going to cut it forever." Arya's jaw tightened as she stared out at the endless dunes ahead. We find out what this thing really is, and we make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Vin looked up from his tablet, his face pale. You don't understand. If this thing's signal reaches its intended destination, we may not survive what comes next. Arya's eyes hardened. Then we'd better figure it out before it's too late. As the transport disappeared into the night, the storm clouds on the horizon began to gather, lightning arcing across the sky like a warning of the chaos yet to come.
Chapter 3: The Signal.
The transport roared across the desolate landscape, its reinforced tires grinding over uneven terrain. Inside, the silence was broken only by the hum of the engine and the occasional crackle of static from the comms. Arya Velos gripped the controls tightly, her sharp gaze fixed on the horizon. Beside her, Kai Soren was slumped in his seat, one hand resting on the rifle across his lap. In the back, Dr. Vinacasta sat hunched over the containment unit, his expression grim as the golden energy within pulsed faintly, casting eerie shadows on the walls. "How far to the dead zone?" Kai asked, breaking the silence. 2 hours if we don't hit a storm," Arya replied without looking at him. Kai grunted, "And if we do? Then we hope the transport holds up." Behind them, Vin let out a frustrated sigh. "This is madness," he muttered, his eyes glued to the tablet in his lap. "Do you even know what you're heading into?" "The dead zone's off the grid," Arya said, her tone clipped. "No council surveillance, no patrols. It's the best place to figure out what we're dealing with." Vin shook his head. "You mean the best place to die?" "Doc," Kai said, glancing back at him, "we've survived worse than this. Try to have a little faith." "Faith won't stop that thing from tearing open the fabric of reality." Vin shot back, pointing to the containment unit. "The relic is broadcasting a signal across dimensions. It's only a matter of time before something answers." Arya's jaw tightened. "Then we'd better figure out how to turn it off before that happens." The dead zone was a stretch of wasteland unlike any other. Once a thriving metropolis, it had been obliterated during the collapse, leaving behind a crumbling skeleton of skyscrapers and bridges. The air here was thick with radiation, and the electromagnetic storms that plagued the area made it uninhabitable. Even the council avoided it. As they approached the edge of the zone, the transport systems began to glitch. The dashboard lights flickered, and the comms sputtered with static. Arya slowed the vehicle, her eyes scanning the ruins ahead. "Great," Kai muttered, tightening his grip on his rifle. "I love it when the tech stops working." Arya parked the transport beneath the skeletal remains of an old highway overpass. The shadows of the crumbling structure offered some cover from prying eyes. She killed the engine and turned to the others. "We go on foot from here," she said. "Kai, you're on point. Vin, stay close and don't wander off." Vin scowled but nodded. "I don't have a death wish." The team moved cautiously through the ruins, their steps echoing against the cracked pavement. The air was eerily still, save for the occasional gust of wind that carried with it the faint sound of distant static. Arya's visor scanned their surroundings, its HUD displaying faint energy readings that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. "This place is giving me the creeps," Kai said, his voice low. "Feels like something's watching us." "You're not wrong," Arya replied, her tone grim. "The energy readings here are off the charts. Stay sharp." As they ventured deeper into the dead zone, the signal from the relic grew stronger. Vin's tablet beeped incessantly, the readings on its screen fluctuating wildly. "It's reacting to something," he said, his voice tinged with both fear and fascination. "The signal, it's resonating with the environment, like it's waking something up." Arya stopped in her tracks. "What do you mean, waking something up?" Before Vin could respond, a low, rumbling sound echoed through the ruins. The ground beneath their feet vibrated, sending loose debris tumbling from nearby buildings. Kai raised his rifle, his eyes scanning the shadows. "Contact," he said sharply. From the darkness emerged a figure, humanoid but distinctly alien. Its body was cloaked in a shimmering black substance that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. Its eyes glowed an unsettling shade of blue, and as it moved, the air around it distorted, as though reality itself were bending to its will. "What the hell is that?" Kai muttered, his finger hovering over the trigger. The creature tilted its head, studying them with an unnerving stillness. Then, without warning, it lunged. "Move," Arya shouted, diving behind a crumbling wall as the creature's attack sent a shockwave through the air. Kai opened fire, his plasma bolts striking the creature's shimmering form, but the energy seemed to dissipate on impact. "It's not working," Kai yelled, frustration evident in his voice. "Vin, any ideas?" Arya called out as she fired her sidearm, aiming for the creature's head. Vin was frantically typing on his tablet, his eyes darting between the relic and the readings on his screen. It's not fully in our dimension. That's why your weapons aren't affecting it." "Then how do we stop it?" Arya demanded. Before Vin could answer, the creature unleashed a piercing shriek. The sound reverberated through the ruins, sending waves of disorientation through the team. Arya gritted her teeth, fighting to stay focused as the creature advanced. Then, suddenly, the relic's containment unit began to glow brighter. The golden patterns within pulsed in sync with the creature's movements, and for a moment it hesitated. "It's connected to the relic," Vin shouted. "It's reacting to the signal." Arya's mind raced. If the relic was somehow linked to the creature, perhaps it could be used against it. She grabbed the containment unit, its surface warm to the touch, and held it out toward the creature. "Arya, what are you doing?" Kai yelled. "Trust me," she said through gritted teeth. The creature paused, its glowing eyes fixating on the relic. The air around it shimmered violently, as though it were caught between dimensions. Arya felt the weight of the relic intensify, its energy surging through her. With a desperate yell, she activated the containment unit, releasing a burst of golden light that engulfed the creature. The light faded, and the creature was gone. Arya collapsed to her knees, her breath ragged. The relic's glow had dimmed, but its energy still pulsed faintly, as though satisfied. "What just happened?" Kai asked, lowering his rifle. Vin approached cautiously, his eyes wide. "You didn't destroy it, you sent it back." "Back where?" Arya asked, her voice hoarse. "Wherever it came from," Vin replied. "But that doesn't mean it's over. The signal is still broadcasting. Others will come." Arya pushed herself to her feet, her grip on the relic tightening. "Then we'd better figure out how to stop the signal. Fast." As the team retreated to the transport, the ruins around them seemed to grow quieter, as though the dead zone itself were holding its breath. In the distance, storm clouds gathered, their electric arcs illuminating the darkening sky. The relic pulsed faintly in Arya's hands, a reminder of the dangers yet to come. "This thing is more than we bargained for," Kai said as they climbed into the transport. Arya nodded. "But it's also the key to something bigger, and I'm not letting the Council or anyone else decide what that is." The transport roared to life, its engine cutting through the silence as it sped away from the ruins. Behind them, the storm loomed ever closer, a harbinger of the challenges still ahead.
Chapter 4: The Hunter's Shadow.
The transport rattled across the barren wasteland, its engine groaning under the strain of the uneven terrain. Inside, the mood was heavy with unspoken tension. Arya Velos sat at the controls, her expression set in grim determination. Kai Soren slouched in the co-pilot's seat, his rifle resting against the dashboard, while in the back, Dr. Vin Acasta hovered over the containment unit. The relic pulsed faintly, its golden glow casting strange, dancing shadows against the walls of the cabin. Vin hadn't spoken much since the encounter in the dead zone. His usual stream of nervous commentary had been replaced by a somber silence as he monitored the relic's signals on his tablet. Occasionally, he would glance out the window at the distant storm clouds, his face pale and drawn. Kai broke the silence. "How much farther to this safe house of yours, Velos?" "An hour," Arya replied without taking her eyes off the horizon. "If the transport holds up." "Big if," Kai muttered, leaning back in his seat. "Feels like this thing's held together with spit and hope." "It's gotten us this far," Arya shot. "Besides, it's not the transport I'm worried about." Kai followed her gaze to the storm on the horizon. Lightning arced across the sky, its electric blue glow illuminating the jagged silhouettes of distant rock formations. But it wasn't the storm that had Arya on edge, it was what might be following them. "We haven't seen any sign of the enforcers since the dead zone," Kai said, as though reading her thoughts. "Maybe we lost them." Arya shook her head. "We didn't lose them. Sorathanis doesn't give up that easily." The safe house was a relic from another era, hidden deep within a network of canyons carved by ancient rivers. From above, it was nearly invisible, blending seamlessly with the rocky landscape. As the transport descended into the canyon, the engine's whine echoed off the stone walls, masking any sounds from the outside world. Arya brought the vehicle to a stop in front of a rusted steel door set into the canyon wall. She climbed out, motioning for Kai and Vin to follow. "Stay alert," she said. "If the council's tracking us, this place might not stay safe for long." Kai scanned the surroundings with his rifle at the ready, while Vin carried the containment unit, his hands trembling slightly. The door hissed open, revealing a dimly lit interior that smelled faintly of oil and decay. The safe house was more bunker than home, a single large room outfitted with ancient machinery, a few battered chairs, and a dusty cot pushed against one wall. Arya immediately went to work powering up the systems, flipping switches on a cracked control panel until the room was bathed in a faint orange glow. "It's not much," she said, tossing her gear onto a nearby table, "but it'll do." Kai sat down heavily in one of the chairs, his rifle resting across his knees. "As long as it keeps the enforcers out, I'm not complaining." Vin placed the containment unit on the table, his eyes darting nervously around the room. "We shouldn't stay here long," he said. "The relic's signal is still broadcasting. It's only a matter of time before they find us, or worse." Arya turned to him, her eyes narrowing. "What do you mean, worse?" Vin hesitated, his fingers fidgeting with the edge of his tablet. "The creature we encountered in the dead zone, it wasn't the only one. I've been analyzing the relic's patterns and the signal. It's drawing more attention. Not just from our dimension, but from others." Kai groaned. "Fantastic. So we've got interdimensional monsters and the council on our tail. Anything else we should know about, Doc?" Before Vin could answer, a low rumble shook the bunker. The lights flickered and the hum of the generator wavered. Arya's hand went to her sidearm, her instincts on high alert. "That didn't sound like the generator," she said. Kai was already on his feet, his rifle trained on the door. "We've got company." The first attack came without warning. The steel door buckled inward with a deafening crash, and a second later, an explosion of smoke and debris filled the room. Arya dove for cover, her pistol drawn, as a squad of council enforcers poured into the bunker. Their black armor gleamed in the dim light, and their weapons hummed with deadly energy. "Hold your fire!" Arya shouted to her team, raising her hands in a show of surrender. "Let's see what they want." The lead enforcer stepped forward, his helmet visor glowing a menacing red. He raised his weapon, but instead of firing he spoke, his voice modulated and cold. "Arya Velos," he said. "By order of the council, you are to surrender the artifact immediately." "Funny," Arya replied, her tone icy. "Last time I checked, we weren't on council property anymore." The enforcer tilted his head slightly. "Your defiance is noted. Surrender now or face the consequences." Kai snorted, his rifle still aimed at the enforcer. "Yeah, because that worked so well for you last time." The enforcer ignored him, his gaze fixed on Arya. "This is your final warning." Arya's mind raced. They were outnumbered, and while she trusted Kai's aim, the enforcers were better equipped. Fighting wasn't an option, not yet. She glanced at Vin, who was crouched behind the table with the containment unit, his face pale with fear. "All right," Arya said, lowering her pistol. "You want the relic? Fine, but you'd better be ready for what comes with it." She motioned to Vin, who hesitated before slowly lifting the containment unit into view. The enforcer took a step forward, his visor glinting as he scanned the relic's golden glow. For a moment, the room was silent. Then, without warning, the relic pulsed violently. A wave of energy rippled through the bunker, sending the enforcers stumbling backward. The lights flickered, and the air grew heavy with static. From the relic's core, a faint, otherworldly hum began to grow louder. "Arya," Vin whispered, his voice trembling, "something's coming." Before she could respond, the room was plunged into chaos. The relic emitted another pulse, and the walls of the bunker seemed to ripple like water. From the distortion emerged a figure, its form shifting and amorphous. It moved with unnatural grace, its glowing eyes fixed on the relic. The enforcers opened fire, their energy weapons lighting up the room, but the creature was unfazed. It moved through the hail of plasma bolts as though they weren't there, its liquid-like form rippling with each impact. "Fall back!" Arya shouted, grabbing the containment unit and shoving it into Vin's arms. "We're leaving!" Kai covered their retreat, his rifle barking as he fired at anything that moved. The enforcers were too preoccupied with the creature to stop them, and within moments, Arya and her team were sprinting back to the transport. The vehicle roared to life as Arya floored the accelerator, the wheels kicking up a cloud of dust as they sped out of the canyon. Behind them, the bunker was a cacophony of explosions and unearthly sounds. The relic pulsed in Vin's lap, its golden light casting eerie shadows on his face. Kai glanced back, his expression grim. That thing wasn't just a creature, it was something else entirely. Something the council couldn't handle, Arya said, her voice tight, which means we've got bigger problems than we thought. Vin nodded, his hands trembling as he clutched the relic. If we don't find a way to shut this signal down, there won't be anything left to fight over. Arya's jaw tightened as she stared at the horizon. The storm clouds ahead seemed darker than ever, their electric arcs illuminating the path forward. She knew the road ahead would only grow more dangerous, but one thing was clear. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. And this time they wouldn't run.
Chapter 5. The Forgotten Truth.
The storm lashed against the transport's reinforced hull as it tore through the barren wasteland. Arya Velos gripped the controls tightly, her knuckles white as the vehicle bucked and groaned under the onslaught of the elements. Lightning cracked across the sky, momentarily illuminating the jagged terrain ahead. In the back, Dr. Vin Acasta clutched the containment unit, his face pale and drawn. Beside him, Kai Soren checked his plasma rifle, his movements steady despite the chaos around them. "How much farther to this sanctuary of yours, Doc?" Kai shouted over the roar of the wind. "Not far," Vin replied, his voice barely audible. "If we survive the storm." Kai smirked. "That's the spirit." Arya ignored them, her focus entirely on navigating the treacherous path ahead. The sanctuary Vin had spoken of was their only hope, a hidden facility buried deep beneath the wastelands, a remnant of the Earth Defense Alliance. If anyone had the answers they needed about the relic, it was there. The transport jolted as a gust of wind slammed into its side. Arya wrestled with the controls, gritting her teeth as she forced the vehicle back on course. "Hang on," she called out. "This is going to get rough." The storm intensified, and for a moment it seemed as though the transport would be torn apart. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the winds died down. The vehicle rolled to a stop in the shadow of a massive rock formation, its engine sputtering before falling silent. Arya exhaled slowly, her hands still gripping the controls. "We're here," she said, her voice steady, "or close enough." The entrance to the sanctuary was hidden beneath the rock formation, concealed behind layers of camouflage and automated defenses. Vin approached the entrance panel, his hands shaking as he keyed in a series of codes. The panel beeped, and the hidden door slid open with a hiss. "This place was decommissioned decades ago," Vin said as they stepped inside. "But the systems should still be operational, if we're lucky." "Luck hasn't exactly been on our side," Kai muttered, scanning the dark corridor with his rifle raised. The sanctuary was a maze of metal and concrete, its walls lined with dormant machinery and flickering lights. The air was stale, heavy with the scent of rust and decay. Arya led the way, her visor casting a faint blue glow that illuminated their path. They reached a central chamber where a massive console dominated the room. Vin hurried to the console, his fingers flying across the keyboard as he powered up the systems. The room hummed to life, and holographic displays flickered into existence, bathing the space in an eerie green light. "What is this place?" Kai asked, his eyes narrowing as he took in the array of data. "A research facility," Vin replied. "One of the last EDA sites before the collapse. They were working on, well, this." He gestured to the containment unit, its golden glow pulsating faintly. Arya crossed her arms. "And what exactly is this, Vin? You've been dodging that question since the beginning." Vin hesitated, his gaze fixed on the holographic display. "The relic isn't just a gateway or a beacon. It's a key, part of a larger network designed to access something called the Nexus." "The Nexus?" Arya repeated, her brow furrowing. Vin nodded. "It's a theoretical convergence point where all dimensions overlap. The EDA believed it could be harnessed to solve resource shortages, reverse environmental collapse, even achieve immortality. But the project was abandoned when they realized the risks. Opening the Nexus. It's not just dangerous, it's catastrophic." "Define catastrophic," Kai said, his tone grim. "Imagine tearing a hole in reality itself," Vin said, his voice shaking. "Entities from other dimensions, like the one we encountered in the Dead Zone, would pour through. We're talking about the end of everything we know." The weight of Vin's words hung heavily in the air. Arya's mind raced as she processed the implications. The Council had known all along what the relic was capable of, and they still wanted it. Why? So, what's the Council's endgame, she asked. Why would they risk unleashing this nexus? Power, Vin said simply. Control. If they could harness the nexus, they'd have access to resources and technology beyond imagination. They'd become unstoppable. Kai let out a bitter laugh. Figures. And here I thought they just didn't like us. Arya ignored him, her gaze fixed on the containment unit. The relic pulsed softly, its glow almost hypnotic. Can we shut it down? Vin hesitated. Theoretically, yes, but it would require accessing the core system of the Nexus network. That means finding the other keys and overriding the system at its source. How many keys are we talking about? Kai asked. At least 3, Vin said. The relic we have is one of them. The others, I'm not sure where they are. But if the Council's tracking us, you can bet they're tracking the other keys too. Great, Kai muttered. So we're not just running from monsters and enforcers, we're in a race. Before they could say more, the console beeped sharply. A warning message flashed across the holographic display, accompanied by a low, rumbling vibration that echoed through the sanctuary. What's that? Arya asked, her hand instinctively going to her pistol. Vin's face paled. They found us. The main display shifted to show a live feed from the sanctuary's exterior. A squad of Council enforcers was advancing on the entrance, their black armor gleaming in the storm's light. Behind them, a massive, lumbering shape moved through the darkness, a creature far larger than the one they had encountered in the dead zone. Its body rippled with otherworldly energy, and its glowing eyes burned with malevolent intelligence. That's not just an enforcer, Kai said, his voice low. That's a damn war machine. We can't fight that, Vin said, his voice trembling. We have to run. Arya shook her head. No, we can't keep running. If we don't stop this now, it won't matter where we go. There won't be anywhere left to hide. She turned to Vin. How do we shut the relic down? Vin hesitated, his fingers trembling over the console. I think I can overload its energy matrix, but it's risky. If it destabilizes, it could take out half the wasteland. Do it, Arya said without hesitation. Are you insane? Kai demanded. That thing could kill us all. If we don't stop it, we're dead anyway, Arya shot back. I'm not letting the Council or that thing get their hands on it. The next few minutes were a blur of action. Vin worked frantically at the console, his hands shaking as he manipulated the relic's energy field. Kai and Arya took up defensive positions near the entrance, their weapons trained on the approaching enforcers. The first wave hit hard. The enforcers stormed the entrance, their plasma weapons lighting up the room. Arya and Kai returned fire, their shots precise and deadly. But the enforcers kept coming, their numbers seemingly endless. We're outnumbered, Kai shouted over the din. This isn't sustainable. Just hold them off, Arya yelled back. Vin, how much longer? Almost there, Vin called out, his voice frantic. The relic's glow intensified, filling the room with golden light. The air grew heavy, crackling with energy. The massive creature appeared in the doorway, its bulk filling the space. It let out an ear-splitting roar, and the enforcers fell back, their weapons useless against its shifting form. Arya fired at it, but her shots dissolved into the creature's shimmering surface. Vin, she shouted. Now would be a really good time. Done! Vin yelled, slamming his hand onto the console. The relic emitted a blinding flash of light, and a wave of energy rippled outward, tearing through the sanctuary. The creature howled in pain, its form disintegrating as the wave passed over it. The enforcers were thrown back, their armor sparking as they collapsed. When the light faded, the sanctuary was silent. The relic sat dormant in its containment unit, its glow extinguished. Arya lowered her weapon, her breathing ragged. Is it over? Kai asked, his voice wary. For now, Vin said, his voice shaking. But we've only delayed the inevitable. The signal's still out there, and so are the other keys. Arya nodded, her jaw set in determination. Then we find them, and we end this, once and for all. As they emerged from the ruins of the sanctuary, the storm clouds above began to break, revealing a faint glimmer of stars. But Arya knew the battle was far from over. The Nexus was still out there, and the fight to stop it had only just begun.
Chapter 6. Through the Nexus.
The transport tore through the wasteland, its battered frame rattling with every jolt and dip in the uneven terrain. Inside, the atmosphere was tense, electric. The relic sat dormant in its containment unit, but its presence was an unspoken weight pressing on all of them. Arya Velos, gripping the controls, stared straight ahead, her jaw tight. Beside her, Kai Soren cleaned his plasma rifle with practiced efficiency, though his eyes betrayed his unease. In the back, Dr. Vinacasta pored over his tablet, muttering to himself as he studied the holographic schematics of the Nexus network. "Are you sure about this?" Kai asked, breaking the silence. "Because storming the Council's stronghold with a ticking dimensional time bomb isn't exactly my idea of a good plan." "It's the only plan we've got," Arya replied without looking at him. "If we don't stop the signal at the source, everything ends. The Council, the Nexus, this world, it'll all be gone." Kai sighed, setting his rifle down. "Just saying, it'd be nice to have a plan B." Arya shot him a look. "Plan B is don't die, focus on that." In the back, Vin looked up from his tablet, his face pale. "The Nexus core is heavily fortified. If we don't shut it down properly, the energy backlash could destabilize reality itself. We'll have one shot at this, no second chances." "Good thing we're not the second chance type," Arya said, her tone firm. She glanced at the containment unit, its dull surface reflecting the faint light from the transport's dashboard. "The Council wants the Nexus for themselves, but they have no idea what they're dealing with. We end this, here and now." The Council's stronghold loomed on the horizon, a massive fortress of steel and glass that seemed to rise from the earth like a monolith. Surrounding it was a shimmering electromagnetic barrier, impenetrable to conventional weapons and shielding whatever secrets lay within. The sky above was dark with storm clouds, and occasional flashes of lightning illuminated the stronghold's imposing silhouette. Arya brought the transport to a halt behind a rocky outcropping, the last bit of cover before the open expanse leading to the barrier. She turned to Kai and Vin, her expression grim. "We go in fast, hit hard, and don't stop until we reach the Nexus core. Kai, you handle the enforcers. Vin, you're with me. Your job is to get the relic into the core's system and shut it down. Got it?" Kai smirked. "Shoot first, ask questions never. Got it." Vin swallowed hard, his hands trembling slightly as he secured the containment unit. "This is suicide." "Probably," Arya said, slinging her plasma pistol onto her hip. "But it's our best shot." The assault began with a deafening explosion. Kai detonated an EMP grenade at the edge of the barrier, creating a brief window of vulnerability. Arya and Vin sprinted through the opening, their movements quick and deliberate. Alarms blared, and the ground shook as automated turrets emerged from hidden compartments in the stronghold's walls. Kai moved with precision, his plasma rifle taking out the turrets one by one. Inside the stronghold, the corridors were a maze of gleaming metal and pulsing lights. The air was cold, sterile, and filled with the faint hum of the Nexus network's energy. Arya led the way, her visor mapping their route in real time. Vin struggled to keep up, clutching the containment unit like his life depended on it, which, in a way, it did. "How much farther?" Arya asked, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "The core is at the center of the facility," Vin replied, glancing at his tablet, "but the security systems are." He didn't get to finish. A squad of enforcers rounded the corner ahead, their weapons raised. Arya fired first, her plasma bolt striking one enforcer in the chest. Kai appeared behind them, his rifle barking as he covered their rear. The fight was brutal and fast, the narrow corridor forcing them into close quarters. When the last enforcer fell, Arya didn't waste a second. "Move," she barked, pulling Vin forward. They reached the Nexus core chamber after what felt like an eternity. The room was massive, its walls lined with glowing conduits that pulsed in rhythm with the relic's faint hum. At the center of the chamber stood the Nexus core, a towering structure of crystalline energy encased in a lattice of alien machinery. The air was thick with power, and the relic in Vin's arms began to glow faintly, as if responding to the core's presence. "This is it," Vin said, his voice shaking. "The heart of the Nexus network." "Then let's shut it down," Arya said. As they approached the core, the chamber shook violently. A massive distortion rippled through the air, and from it emerged a figure, a creature unlike any they had encountered before. Its form was humanoid but grotesquely twisted, its body shimmering with the same golden energy as the relic. Its eyes burned with intelligence and malice. "The Guardian," Vin whispered, his face pale. "It's protecting the Nexus." "Of course it is," Kai muttered, raising his rifle. "Nothing's ever easy." The Guardian attacked with a deafening roar, its movements unnaturally fast for something so massive. Arya rolled to the side, firing her pistol at its glowing core, but the energy dissipated on impact. Kai unleashed a barrage of plasma bolts, but they had little effect. It's drawing power from the Nexus, Vin shouted. We need to cut the connection. Then do it, Arya yelled, dodging another attack. It'll keep it busy. Vin sprinted toward the core, his hands flying across the control panel as he worked to integrate the relic's energy. The Guardian turned its attention to him, its eyes glowing brighter as it moved to strike. Arya leaped onto its back, her knife plunging into the exposed circuitry near its neck. The creature howled, momentarily stunned. Hurry up, Vin, Kai shouted, firing at the creature to keep it off balance. I'm trying, Vin snapped, his voice high with panic. The relic's glow intensified, its energy merging with the core's systems. The room began to vibrate, and the conduits lining the walls pulsed erratically. Almost there, Vin shouted. Just a few more seconds. The Guardian let out a final, ear-splitting roar as it lunged toward Vin. Arya dove in front of him, firing her last plasma charge directly into the creature's face. It staggered, its form flickering as the energy sustaining it began to collapse. Now, Vin, Arya screamed. Vin slammed his hand onto the control panel, and the Nexus core erupted in a blinding flash of light. The Guardian disintegrated, its body dissolving into golden particles that were sucked into the core. The chamber shook violently, and the conduits began to shatter one by one. Time to go, Kai shouted, grabbing Vin by the arm as Arya led the way out of the collapsing chamber. They barely made it out of the stronghold before the Nexus core imploded, its energy consuming the entire facility in a brilliant explosion. The shockwave knocked them off their feet, but when the dust settled, the stronghold was gone. Only a massive crater remained, its edges glowing faintly with residual energy. Arya sat up slowly, her body aching from the impact. Kai was already on his feet, helping Vin up as the scientist clutched his tablet with trembling hands. It's over, Vin said, his voice barely above a whisper. The Nexus, it's gone. Arya stared at the crater, her mind racing. Not gone, she said, but contained, for now. Kai smirked, offering her a hand. Guess that means we're still alive, for now. Arya took his hand, pulling herself up. She looked at Vin, who was staring at the tablet with a mix of relief and fear. What's next, Doc? Vin hesitated. The signal is gone, but the Nexus, its echoes will still ripple through the dimensions. There's no telling what might come next. Arya nodded, her jaw set in determination. Then we'll deal with it. Whatever comes, we'll face it, together. As the storm clouds above began to clear, revealing a sky dotted with stars, Arya allowed herself a rare moment of hope. The fight wasn't over, but for the first time in a long time, she felt they had a chance. And that was enough.